What it do, FMFAM? Y'all saw the title and the thumbnail. It's time for us to talk about this. Being that I am still a dealer technician, even though I left my old dealer. And I think with what the Ford CEO says, he's delusional. Let's check it out.
Why is there a shortage of these workers? Well, it's a complicated problem, but there is, let's put it that way, literally 1 million people openings right now. Technicians and dealerships working on cars. At Ford, we have 6,000, probably 400,000 repair technician shortages across the economy. I think it's a couple things. First of all, the productivity has not caught up with the white collar. In fact, it's gone down over the last 20 years. Number two, the jobs aren't as glamorous as a white collar job from college, which is kind of the primary path that our whole economy, investment was for new jobs. And I think the permitting and all the regulations has really stunted the growth of these kind of jobs.
Fluffy the mechanic, wrenches doing magic. Get grease on his fingers like some sort of tragic. Working on Nissans, every day's a mission. CVT transmissions, that's his main addiction. Slacking on the job, nah, Fluffy bringing heat. Gears and transmissions making engines meet. Auto parts flying, singing in the beat. Fluffy fixing rides every...
You asshole.
I gotta go.
Okay, well, he doesn't want to do this with me, so we're gonna do it by myself. All right. He has to get something to. He got to get going. Where's my camera? Hold on. So as we seen right there, the Ford CEO is saying that there's a shortage of technicians. What do you say? 6,000 technicians in the Ford dealerships and 400,000 throughout the country. Shortage of technicians. And why is that? It's complicated.
Well, it's a complicated problem.
No, it's not. It's not complicated. See, what's happening is, for one, warranty times. If supposedly they pay attention to social media and what mechanics are out there saying to make sure they're not bashing any brand that they work for, because you're representing the brand. Now, technicians don't work for said manufacturers. Like, I'm with Nissan. I don't work for Nissan. I work for a dealership that is partnered with Nissan. They're franchises. So it's like tow trucks. Like, they don't work for Matco. It's a franchise. And yes, they still have to answer to them, but they don't directly work for them. We just represent them, if you will. So that's a whole different issue. But going back to it, there are so many technicians out there complaining about lack of work, lack of pay, the struggles to get warranty jobs approved. We have to jump through so many hoops to get warranty jobs approved. You got to do all this testing, which a lot you don't even get paid for. So that's one. Labor times are supposed to be supposedly 70% of what CP would be. Why does the manufacturer pay less than a customer when it's the manufacturer's issues, right? So why does the customer have to pay more? I'm just saying. So let's say, like on recalls, right? We still have, no, let me back up. TSBs. We still have to diagnose the issues, make sure that a vehicle falls into the TSB in order to perform the TSB under warranty. That takes time, which, because they already have a TSB out there, they lower warranty times. They come out with one little tool and they cut warranty times. Technicians aren't running enough time, so they feel like, oh, they're not doing it correctly, or they're doing it too fast because they're not running enough time on warranty tickets. What's wrong with us doing stuff quicker? The whole point is to beat warranty times. These times that they come up with, supposedly they get a you know, it's crazy. They get a vehicle, they put it on the lift or whatever, they have the issue in front of them, they start, and this happens 6 times apparently, and then they get the average, and that's how they come up with the warranty time. All tools laid out, parts laid out, do the job, how long did it take, next one, next one, next one. All right, in a perfect world, all tools laid out, they expect technicians to do it within that amount of time. No mistakes. Shit happens. Shit happens. And if you don't replace, you know, a certain one-time use part, then, you know, the manufacturer wants to charge it back. Recalls, just because there's a recall out, they drop labor times. If, let's say I'm doing 2 axles, opposite sides. Let's say one axle pays 1.3 hours. To do both, you're gonna get paid 1.5. Where's the justification? How is there that much overlap? 2/10 worth more to replace an opposite side axle? Are you kidding me? When one side has a bracket and then the other side is a little shorter, so it's a little tighter. And by the bracket, I mean some of them have a carrier bearing in the middle of the intermediate shaft, right? So, or the half shaft. So how am I getting penalized for the job needing both sides, but you want to pay one side X amount and the other side add 2/10? The only overlap there is the fluid, if you got to refill fluid, and then putting it on the lift. That's the only overlap there is. You got to either break down the knuckle to get the axle off. They don't account for rust. They don't account for, you know, if somebody's worked on it before and strip some stuff. Yeah, you can claim it, but then they want to argue it with straight time. You know, it's just a whole bunch of things. And, you know, a technician cannot live straight off of warranty work. It's no way, no possible way. And then he wants to say that there's, you know, no, it's not because of parts. The parts ain't an issue. That's funny, because when I talk to Ford technicians, when I hear about Ford dealerships and stuff, you know, they've forever been a month to 2 months out, not 2 weeks. They've always been months out. I have family members who have driven MOPAR products 2 to 3 months. I drive a Chevy, and when I would take my vehicle to the Chevy dealership, when it was under warranty or I had extended warranty, 2 to 3 months for parts. And this is, you know, yeah, COVID messed up a lot of stuff, but even prior to COVID, there was a lot of parts issues, back order parts, because these parts were getting replaced so often that now they have to revise it, and so they stop, you know, making the parts until they're updated and blah 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 blah. That doesn't fall on the technician. If a technician has looked at the vehicle, this is the thing too, technicians cannot get paid on a vehicle until the vehicle is done, when it's under warranty. So say we diagnose a vehicle, we had to tear it down, right? You can't leave that vehicle in your stall for a month, 2 months, 3 months. You have to get that vehicle out. So we have to partially put it back together in order to roll it out, push it out, drive it out, whatever you have to do. The manufacturer doesn't account for that. There are some states where they are going to, where the manufacturer has to pay what customer pay is, which it should be across the board, across the states. Why it isn't, I have no idea. Down here in Texas, we get, you know, we get warranty pay, and that's what we get. And then the processes to get stuff approved. They want videos of test drive. You know, if it's an intermittent issue, and let's say it's the transmission, you know it's acting up, it acts up at 60 miles an hour. We have to duplicate the concern while recording. Come on, while recording, you're videoing the cluster to get, you know, if there's a RPM fluctuation or flare, you know, what the RPM jiggles around like that, then they want you to pull over and get a continuous video the VIN, because they're trying to prevent fraud when they know there's issues with certain vehicles, when they know there's issues with certain parts. They make it harder for technicians to get work. Now that's on the manufacturer level. When it comes to dealership levels, a lot of it has to do with management. A lot of it has to do with overstaffing, how do you call it? Over hiring. Too many technicians in the shop, not enough product, not enough vehicles coming in to get repaired. And then there's a whole profit issue as well. Dealerships want their profit, obviously. So when it comes to the simpler tasks, you know, express departments are starting to take over those simpler tasks. Some places do minor suspension and flushes. Some just do flushes, while you have main shop technicians just twiddling their fingers doing nothing. What is more important? What should be more important to a dealership? Yes, express gets the cars in, they get the cars out, they see the most cars. That's what brings the cars into the dealership, gives us the chance to look at them and upsell work for main shop. But not everybody's gonna buy that main shop work. So when you have a little bit of gravy, you want to keep your main shop technicians happy, because those are the technicians. The main shop technicians are the ones that fix the vehicles, not do maintenance. Yeah, maintenance is cool, but we have to fix the vehicles. And that's a big problem. If you don't have the right technicians in the shop to fix the vehicles, you're gonna have an issue. And dealerships like to overstaff. They like to load up their shop with as many technicians because they get a little rush, they fall a week behind, and they get scared. They start hiring a bunch of technicians because they want their turnaround to be a day or two or less. Then what happens when all that work dies out? There's a lot of technicians that jump. They jump ship. As soon as they start seeing it get slow, they jump. It took me 13 years at my prior dealership to jump ship. To a shop that only has me. Well, it had 2 technicians. It had 3, 1 left. So they were down to 2. They needed 1 more. They called me up. Luckily, I worked with a lot of these guys already. So they called me up, gave me the opportunity. And I came over here because I already knew what to expect. I knew they had the work. Feeding 3 technicians is a lot easier than feeding 8 or 9 techs. Yeah, we don't have the volume here, as much volume, but there's enough work for us to survive. Okay, and what sounds better? You know, the newer technicians ain't coming into the trade, right? Well, of course, we see all this negativity online about don't be a mechanic, this, that, and the other. It's crap work. It's hard on your, yes, it is hard on your body. It is, but you got to take care of yourself. You know, lift properly and don't, you know, a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm not even going to get into that. Pay. You know, you don't want a technician in Texas. If a technician is not turning a wrench, he's not getting paid. Technically, he's getting paid minimum wage, but that's only on the clock, no overtime. Technician gets paid $7.25. A master technician will get paid $7.25 an hour for 55 hours. Do the math. How come McDonald's can make more than us, $15, $16 an hour, and we're getting paid $7.25? After all our benefits and saving programs, sometimes we end up with no check. No check. In the beginning of this year, 2025, the first week of January, I made a $0 check. It was cents or $8 or something like that. $8 freaking dollars because all my deductions. And that was the start of me thinking, you know what, I need to leave this place. And I warned them, put a guarantee in place for us. And we got a new service director, and you know, this stuff wasn't happening. Stuff wasn't happening quick enough for me, so I had to leave. But if you put a guarantee in place, you'll be able to keep more technicians in the shop. And I'm not talking about a 15-hour, 20-hour. No, you have to make it to where those technicians, if they have a bad week or 2 bad weeks in a row, they will still be able to feed their family and pay their bills. Okay, tier it. Entry level or C techs get so much, B techs, A techs, master techs. Of course, master techs are going to have the highest guarantee. Those are the ones you want to keep the happiest. Nah, I'm not saying all master techs are fantastic and fabulous, no. But more than likely, if you have a good master technician or a couple good master technicians and you keep them happy, they're going to stay. Because the worst thing you can do is leave a master tech sitting in his stall with nothing to do, thinking. Mental health. You know, a lot of technicians do not talk about the mental health that happens within our minds when we don't have any work. It's depressing. It is legit depressing. I've talked about where, you know, this year was bad for me all the way up until about April, May. Where I ended up getting my car repossessed, and people, how you said you make almost 100K, how are you getting your car repossessed? That makes no sense. Well, because when you're used to making $8,000-$9,000 a month, and then it gets cut down to, and I mean grossing $8,000-$9,000, take home 5 to 6, right? You're used to making that, and then it gets cut down to $2,000, $2,500, or you're getting paid minimum wage and you barely bring home $1,500 a week because you have one decent week. Like, look, in order for me to surpass minimum wage, look, they do this: minimum wage or your hours, your flag hours. So if you have 55 hours of minimum wage, which comes out to $300, maybe $350, I don't know, I'll put the math up there. So you have that number, and then depending on your hours, let's say $40 an hour. Okay, $40 an hour, you make 10 hours, that's $400. Which one is more, the minimum wage or the hours, your flag hours? The flag hours is more. $400. You really think a technician, a master technician, a senior specialist, a specialist is gonna, you know, with kids, with a wife, you know, with a house, you think they're gonna be able to survive off of $400 a week? Take away all the deductions and stuff like that, taxes and all that, you're left with maybe $100, maybe a little more, depending on what deductions they have. Technicians need to be kept happy. It should be no surprise. He's acting surprised like
Well, it's a complicated problem.
he's acting surprised like they don't know what's going on and why technicians are leaving and why there's a shortage. It's because technicians need taken care of. This auto industry is the worst industry when it comes to workers being treated poorly.
You know, and how the hell are factory workers treated better than mechanics that fix the vehicles, that have to use critical thinking, use their hands, buy their own tools, and they get paid less than what a factory worker makes? It doesn't make no sense. So when there's a recall on a certain vehicle, certain part of the vehicle, should y'all be cutting the factory workers' pays for that section?
We recommend stuff based on what we see, what we feel, what we hear, what we see starting to fail, and customers complain about that. They complain. There's so many, oh my God, I took my car in for an oil change and now they want to charge me $10,000 to fix my car. No. And that's up to the advisors too. We break stuff down, okay? This, we're starting to see this go out. We're starting to see this go out. You know, for instance, if I'm replacing a valve cover on a V6 engine, it calls for, about 3.5 hours. 3.5 hours to do both valve covers. Okay. I'm going to overlap some spark plugs in there, add a half hour in there to do the spark plugs and the valve covers. So that gives me a total of 4 hours. And I clean the throttle body and relearn idle. 4 hours, okay? Then I'm gonna break it down, valve covers only, because they might not want the spark plugs. This is your price. Valve covers at 3.5 hours. Boom. Tune-up only at 3 hours. So you see, this is the grouped and these are the separate. Yeah, at that total number is gonna look crazy because it's a total. You get me? But that's where the advisors have to come in and say, okay, this is grouped. This is what it would be if you did valve cover only. This is what it would be if you do tune-up only. But if you do both of them, look at how much money you're gonna save, because these two separately is gonna run you this much if you get them done at different times. If you do it all right now, look at how much money you're gonna save. 3 hours in a $200 an hour shop, that's $600. That's a big difference. So you could say advisors need to know how to sell as well. Proper training. A lot of times in dealerships, you see advisors just get thrown in there. Advisors don't know everything that goes on with your vehicle. They don't know everything about, honestly, advisors know little to nothing about a vehicle unless they've had prior experience. So proper training goes a long way within this industry. But the Ford CEO should not be acting oblivious to what's going on in the shop. Why is there a shortage?
Well, it's a complicated problem.
Just open up your app, open up TikTok, open up YouTube, open up Instagram, and see what technicians are saying. Maybe they need to start paying attention to how technicians talk, what technicians are complaining about. You know, they love for, oh my goodness, surveys, customer surveys. They love to scrutinize dealerships and technicians on survey scores. Why don't they survey themselves with technicians? Hey, what is going on? What can we do? And actually listen and pay attention. It's too hard. It's just too hard. It's too hard. But I can say where I am right now, it's a lot better. It's a lot better. It's still a dealership, but it's a lot better. I really don't have many complaints. I'm happy where I'm at. I'm making decent money where I am right now. They have no plans to overstaff the shop. But I just felt like I needed to come on here because it was funny to me. The moment I saw him say that,
well, it's a complicated problem.
I was like, oh, hell nah. This dude has lost his mind. That is embarrassing for him to come up and say, oh, we don't know why there's a shortage of technicians.
Well, it's a complicated problem.
It's all over the internet. We talk about it all the time. And being a dealership technician, I am always getting beat up in my comment sections about the way dealerships run. Oh, it's a dealership, it's a dealership. When we see the worst work come from independent shops. I'm not saying all independent shops are bad, because I have a lot of friends that work for independent shops and they do fantastic work. They're freaking smart, smarter than me, legit smarter than me. I see the same problems all the time. And if I haven't seen that problem, I got resources to help me out. That's quick. Unlike them, they have to reach out to different people. You know, they might have a friend or whatever. Like Rainman Ray's reached out. I've helped them out over the phone. And a couple other YouTubers. Quick Wrench, which he doesn't really post a lot. BFT, Bearded Ford Tech. You know, there's other mechanics out there that have reached out to me and I help them out because I see these issues all the time. Could you imagine them not knowing and not having anybody to go to? I'm not saying they're bad technicians, but they were able to tell me, or they were able to relay me the proper symptoms, the proper issues that they're seeing or feeling or whatever, and able to reach out. And you know, I'm able to tell them, okay, you know what, start with this, check this out. Oh, damn. All right, Fluff, thank you. Yeah, no problem. But yet dealerships are looked at so horrible. like I said, I'm not talking a bunch of shit about independent shops. We need independent shops, but dealerships need taken care of too. When your vehicle's under warranty, who do you go to? The dealership. But the moment you got to pay for something, oh fuck that, you know. Customers be complaining, and it doesn't help with the internet. The internet has a lot to say about dealerships too. Like I said, they're always complaining, oh, they tried to charge me. It's your choice. You get to say yes or no to repairs. We don't force you. We're just advising you. So, yeah, Ford CEO, you're tripping, bro. I don't know how many views this is going to get, how many people this is going to reach, but the Ford CEO has really got to get it together. Maybe his team needs to get together and be like, yo, what's going on? And maybe it'll be a trickle-down effect. Maybe, just maybe all the manufacturers will look at Ford and be like, oh, okay, well, you know what? He spoke up, got a lot of feedback, a lot of backlash. What is actually going on in dealerships? Why is there a shortage of technicians? What do we need to do to make these technicians happy? Because at the end of the day, if your workers aren't happy, they're going to leave. They're going to bounce. They're going to get out of the field. Not even working in automotive anymore. They're going to go to construction, get a white collar job. Look, blue collar, what do you say? Blue collar is not up to par with white collar, and it's getting further and further lower. Well, yeah. Oh, it's not as glamorous. Well, yeah. Being a mechanic isn't for everybody. I've seen a lot of mechanics come and go. Not everybody is fit to be a mechanic. But the ones that do good, look, you got your good diagnostic techs, and you got your good R&R techs. Just because a person can slam parts doesn't mean he's a bad mechanic, bad technician. He's just good at taking stuff apart, putting it back together. You need those people. Just because a guy can diagnose, but he's slow on the repair side, on doing stuff, you wanna punish him for being slower, but yet he can diagnose the hell out of anything? That's not right. That's not right. And diagnosing is the hard part. R&R is the easy part. Even though there are people who are faster than others. I've slowed down when it comes to R&R. But I can diagnose. I'm not tooting my own horn. I just know I can diagnose. And that was a big thing that got me into this dealership, is because they wanted a strong person who knows what they're doing, who knows how to diagnose, and who's not going to get a bunch of comebacks. And for some reason, I've had the most comebacks here than I ever have at my prior dealership. This whole year, I haven't had as many comebacks as I've had here at this dealership. It's crazy. Anyways, I need to get the hell out of here. Probably going to go live later, and we're going to talk about this. So if you want to see that live stream, boom, it's going to be right here up in this freaking corner right there. All right. This is Fluffy Mechanic. Yes, I'm at a new dealership, but I'm still with Nissan. And hopefully this industry takes an upturn, because it's about time. The automotive industry is taking a hard hit in the past couple years, and it's time for us to come back up top. There's so much expected of mechanics, from electrical to plumbing to HVAC to we have to know how to take the body apart to access stuff. It's a lot that goes into being a technician, not just one single trade.